We need your support. Click the like buttons below. Now onto the video. Welcome to readtheticker.com. Recently, Paul Tudor Jones came out and said he's going to invest in Bitcoin. And he said he's doing this because he expects inflation in the years to come. And he also said that he believed Bitcoin would be the fastest horse in the race. Now, the fastest horse in the race, there's another term for that, technically, it's called relative strength. He believes Bitcoin is going to be the relatively stronger security to protect oneself against inflation. So let's look at relative strength. Here we have an Apple chart, a weekly chart of about 750 weeks. Now, simply relative strength, when you're comparing relative strength of one time frame versus another, we're basically defining the RSI indicator. If I have a flat period and a steep period, that means this steep period is relatively stronger than the flat period. If I have a steep period but it's slower in trend than the prior steep period, that means that relative strength is slightly weaker than that strong period, and so on as relative strength changes. Now, at readtheticker.com we like to show off relative strength, and we got a standard RSI indicator here. So the dashed line is relative strength. And what we've done is we're actually using 300 weeks with a moving average of 100. So this is an RSI of 300 weeks, and the 100 is the middle line. It's a moving average of the RSI data with a band around it. Now what this shows is that when the line is rising, that means the relative strength is gaining. So for example, here the strength, this is stronger relative strength, and it just with 100 moving averages highlights the blue and the red periods, which are, confirmed periods of strength. So here we have RSI weekly using the 300 to 100, because I like to find the big trends. We're not looking at small trends here. We only use the 300. It's obviously 300 is 6 years as the base comparison, and 100 is a moving average. So I like to look at the 5 year, well, let's say 6 years, 6 year comparison of our RSI, because I like the big trends. So this move here is a relatively strong period prior this area here. Okay. So here we have the RSI of Apple weekly, comparing price to its prior self. That's one RSI trend. Now we're going to look down. Here we have the S&P 500, and another form of relative strength is taking Apple and comparing it to another symbol, i.e. the index, which is S&P 500. So here's the S&P 500, and now what we do is we take Apple and we divide it by S&P 500, and now we get a relative strength chart of comparison between one symbol and another. And how we do that in this chart is here. At the moment we're using an analysis chart, and if I scroll down to the input screen so you can see it for yourself, here I've got RSI settings, I've got the S&P 500 settings there, and here I have dollar auto double colon S&P 5, exclamation mark S&P 500. So that's that is Apple divided by the S&P 500. So auto refers to the main symbol, and it automatically loads it in. So that's very good for flash charts popping out. So I load an auto double colon S&P 500, and that gives me this ratio chart, which is relative strength of Apple to the S&P 500. Now what's even more tricky is I actually take the RSI indicator and I put it on this purple line. See, here we have below here we have RSI, and it's Apple. The symbol is Apple divided by S&P 500. So this RSI indicator is actually on the ratio of Apple to S&P 500. So that allows us to compare two RSIs. We have an RSI of the ratio of Apple to the S&P 500, and we also have an RSI of Apple against itself. Now, this is very useful. Oh, by the way, how do I do that? I just go down to price. We set the price. We put the ratio symbol in, and we just scroll down to the bottom and get RSI manual, and it pops out there. This is a new tool, so if you haven't seen it before. And I'm using the same period settings, 300, 103. So right now I'm going to put these two together. Oops. Right, so now we have the Apple weekly chart. The blue RSI, or the blue bullish part, tells me how well the current trend of Apple is performing against prior periods of Apple. So the RSI strength is good around here. Okay, we like that. We can actually use the red periods, which are the RSI as shows weakness, to do our Wyckoff studies. But also I can scroll down to my lower RSI, which is the ratio of Apple to the S&P 500, and see how my RSI is on the relative strength of the main index. As you can see, this period here, where Apple actually dipped there, but the relative strength of the S&P 500 shows you how incredibly strong it was. Alright? And obviously this is the period of weakness of Apple to the S&P 500. So this relative strength compares two major things. Relative strength of Apple against itself, to prior periods, and Apple's relative strength to a major index to see how it's going. Now that's just like Paul Tudor Jones saying, I want to put Bitcoin be the fastest horse in the race. So here's two RSI tests to confirm, when you're looking at a stock symbol, how well it's performing against itself and against other major indices. And you can use the RSI indicator to do that in readtheticker.com. We're using a longer period, the 300 week, with 100 SMA and 3 bands, 3-point bands, which is basically 3-point RSI points. Very good use of the RSI tool in the analysis chart. Thanks for watching.